what's going on YouTube? Black Magic here, and thanks for checking out my very first Call of Duty Ghosts gameplay commentary. As I've mentioned in one of my previous videos, Infinity Ward has ironed out most of the kinks for the PC version on Friday, and even though there are still a few lag and spawn issues, I have had some pretty good matches so far. Now keep in mind that since these maps are new to me, you'll probably see me making a few wrong turns here and there, into dead ends, and that's basically because of how I like to learn the maps. I like to learn the map without using the help of my mini-map, because I just kind of like to run around and get a feel for how things flow, basically. Now I do have a few different things planned for multiplayer videos in the future, such as loadouts and map reviews, but this video's sole purpose is to finally give you guys my first impressions on the multiplayer mode, and also a few pros and cons for us PC players. Now for those of you wondering, I'm playing Team Deathmatch on Stormfront, so let's go ahead and get started with the video. So first of all, I want to point out that most of the mouse acceleration issues have been fixed for Call of Duty Ghosts, but I still have to bump my polling rate down from 1,000 to 125, which normally isn't really that big of a deal, but I use two completely different mouse profiles now for Call of Duty and one for Battlefield, and I've never had to do that before with any PC game that I've played. Usually my mouse sensitivity is somewhere between 3000 and 3200 DPI for any game that I play, while my Call of Duty Ghost profile is set at basically 2400, sometimes I bump it down to 2300 DPI. Now the big reason that I'm mentioning these numbers to you guys is so for those of you guys that play on the PC, that's just what works best for me. And if you guys haven't figured out a decent mouse sensitivity setting yet, give those settings a try and let me know if that helps. Like I said, polling rate at 125 and change your sensitivity somewhere between 23 and 2500. I find that the low to mid 2000s work best for me. Now I also moved my in-game sensitivity to almost 0, because any more than that is just way too much for me. While Infinity Ward has fixed a majority of the issues for the PC version, I still do have a few random mouse accelerations here and there. They cause my crosshairs to randomly jerk in one direction, but it's not as bad as it was the first night that I tried to play. Now, moving on to my first impressions of the maps in this game. Now, try to keep in mind that these first impressions are still loosely based on me only playing each map maybe 3 to 4 times at the very most. And all I have to say about the maps right now are they're way different than what most Call of Duty fans, myself included, are used to. The flows on most of these maps are pretty unorganized and kind of all over the place, but that doesn't make them all terrible maps. It does make some of them very terrible maps, but it doesn't make all of them that bad. It just makes them different. Usually I have 1 to 2 maps, you know, starting off a Call of Duty game, I usually have 1 to 2 maps that I really just hate at first. Turbine and Aftermath from Black Ops 2 were always the maps that I tried to stay away from because I just didn't really care for them at all, and Call of Duty Ghosts is no exception. The 2 maps that I literally just cannot stand at the moment are Stonehaven and Flooded, and I'll actually be going over these issues in a later video about maps, but I'm sure that I'm not the only one that would pick those 2 out of the entire list of maps that would pick those 2 as their 2 least favorite maps in this game. Now, as far as the weapons are concerned in Call of Duty Ghosts, it seems that if you're not using an assault rifle in this game, then you're pretty much shit out of luck unless you stay in the tight spots of the map, or if you just kind of like to hang out behind bars and just camp there the entire game. I actually run into one of those people in this match if it hasn't already passed it by now. All the maps seem pretty big, which means a lot of long-range gunfights, and it's a pretty big change of pace, for me at least, from Black Ops 2. I mean, I'm sure it's a big change of pace for other people as well, but that's just because of the way that Treyarch and Infinity Ward kind of designed their maps a little bit differently. You know, generally your loadouts are going to be different in each of these games as well. Now I did expect this, however, since in Modern Warfare 3, I used an LMG almost the entire time that I played Modern Warfare 3. The main guns that I'm using at the moment are the SC2010 and the SA805, and I have to say that right now, these guns are pretty solid. But, you know, most of the weapons in this game do seem a little overpowered to begin with. Now, Infinity Ward is probably going to start nerfing most of these weapons, so it's still a little too early to tell, basically, which one of these guns are going to be the best, as far as, you know, what's the best assault rifle, the SMG, and all that kind of stuff. It's probably going to take, maybe I give Infinity Ward a month before they start putting out a patch, start nerfing these guns. So like I said, guys, it is still a little too early to give you guys a good idea of what the best gun in the game is. And I'll probably have to update my class setup videos a few times over the next couple of months, but look forward to that in the near future. So finally, we move on to one of the big issues that a majority of people seem to be having with Call of Duty Ghosts right now, and that's the spawn system, or lack thereof a spawn system. I haven't had as many issues, spawn issues, I should say, as most people I've spoken to have, but this is really something that should have been taken care of from day one. I mean, the few times that I ran into this problem, I would spawn in, take a few steps, and then I was getting taken down by an enemy on the sides of me or behind me. And there was even one game where I spawned right in between two people having a gunfight in like an alleyway somewhere, and that's a pretty big deal for me. Is, you know, that's a huge issue. With all these issues that we've experienced since the release of this game, I think that the random and unplanned spawning system stretches across all platforms, and this is probably the biggest issue that we as Call of Duty fans face right now in this game. I know that I've said this before, but I'll say it again. Learn from Battlefield and put out an open beta to catch these issues before we go spending our money on your game. Anyways, guys, that's just going to about wrap it up for today's video. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you have liked the video, please be sure to leave it a thumbs up and let me know what you think about Call of Duty Ghosts multiplayer in the comments section down below. You guys can follow me on Twitter. I am at BlackMagic. You're going to have to spell it backwards the same way as I do, but it shouldn't be too much of a problem if you just copy and paste. You can also find me on Steam. My Steam ID is also going to be BlackMagic spelled backwards. If you guys have not already done so, please do take a second and click the subscribe button. That way you're kept up to date on all my future videos. Anyways, guys, thank you guys very much for watching the video, and I will catch you in the next one.